being my assistant, Peyton. Appreciate it.
When are you starting?
Now. Hey ladies, I see some of you so far. I am just getting ready to start. Yay. So let's see. Jump in as you guys come in and into the chat. So down at the bottom, just click on the chat. Enter, just be like, hey, where are you from? So I can see where people are coming from in the chat box. Just open that up. Thank you kindly. Good job. And then that helps if you have any questions, stick them in the chat box or the Q&A. I just like the chat box a little bit better so I can see what's going on, and then we'll figure that out from there. I also have it recording on YouTube Live. Finally got that going on, so that was pretty cool. I'm gonna give myself a little more light here for a moment, see if I can get a little more daylight. It's side lighting, so it's not the best, but that's a little bit, yeah, a little bit better. Through all sorts of things. And as people kind of jump in, can you guys hear me okay? You can nod your heads because I can see you all fine. You can hear me, yes? You guys are frozen for some reason. Hopefully my internet is not going sideways, because then I got some problems. Let me do a little, I'm gonna do a little speed check. Super quickie. Just make sure it's not on my end. It usually isn't, but you never know. Because everyone's connection is breaking up. Thanks, Abby. Not sure why. Peyton?
Yes.
Are you on the internet?
No.
Yeah, I think you are. So please don't be anymore. You gotta draw from freehand.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Because that'll help me out a little bit. Yeah, it's fair. It's not fabulous. So I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe it's because of my lots of time. So hopefully it'll jump back in and get better. 61. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you for telling me that it's, is it any better? Am I freezing less? If you guys, as you jump in, know two things. Questions can be asked through the chat box. And if you want to talk, I have you muted, but you can hold down your space bar and it acts like a little walkie-talkie microphone. Cool new thing. So I would be the one that I'd always forget that I unmuted myself and then go do something and everybody knows exactly what I'm doing. So this prevents that embarrassment. So super, it's much better. I will blame my child on that one. And as we get going, I know Abby, you're joining me because we're going to talk about your forearm and your elbow. We're going to talk about that. So I will, let's see, I think what I'm going to do, let me get to my different speaker view. That's what I want. I can see you better on the speaker view for me. I'm going to unmute you because I want to start asking you a little bit of questions since we're only here for 30 minutes. I want to make sure that I get you set. So talk for me, so see if I can hear you.
Yep, I'm unmuted, so.
Got it? You are on my computer. That's what I did. My ears, sorry, while I figure this one out. My ears are connected in, but not,
Can't get my video to pop up.
I see you, so something's working.
You know, from what I've used from Zoom so far, is there's those three dots up at the corner.
Right?
If you want the speaker to pop up as the big screen, make sure you are not pinned
Oh, I see what you're saying.
in video. So you know how like if someone will talk automatically, that person's screen will go whoop and then be the main thing.
Yes.
Pinned if you, then it won't do that. So I don't know if that was the thing.
Which, yeah, I do like it when it does that sometimes. There we go. That's what's gonna bring me into my ear. But sometimes when a lot of people are all of a sudden talking at once, that gets me confused. So yeah, okay, I'm better now. I had to just fix my ear thing. And yeah, so I can pin you. Pin video, super fun. Okay, so questions that I have are, is it outside or inside of your elbow? So, is it swollen then? Okay. And did you have a specific thing that you bumped it on? It just started. Okay. Yeah, what's is it hurt all the time, or is it with certain motions or lifting? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Those still all point tricep connections, right? I have my anatomy coloring book for you that I I took out. Okay. So, partially, and it doesn't seem like it's swollen compared to the other one. Okay. No, I know. Sorry. I just had to do that. I think that first thing, the easiest fix is tape it, is what I would do for sure. Have you ever used any sort of kinesiology tape? Okay. I would just cut yourself a piece. It depends on just for bending and stuff. One of the cool tricks that I do for elbows, like I've ran across a couple that have that that big puffy elbow that's swollen that I'm blanking on the name for. But what's cool is that you can take it and then fold it in half the long ways. You play a little game of arts and crafts here, and you cut out just a little bit for the tip of your elbow, because it's just gonna stay on better. So let's see, can you see it better? Yep, can you see that? Okay, so then you can tear it that way in the middle. So I have the little hole, right? And I would go, I'd even probably move it a little bit on either side. Granted, it's easier if someone else helps you with it, but it's totally possible otherwise. And it helps prevent wrinkles when you cut that hole in there. But I have a feeling, since it's bugging you for so long, there's probably some swelling. So that's why they call it epicondylitis or whatever. But it's on your elbow, so you might have some wrinkles when you do it. The little keyhole will prevent that in certain ways. And then when you straighten it, it puckers, and that's what's creating the lift and the help with the circulation of the inflammation. Okay, so the tape puts this little lifting effect on the skin and all those tissues, So then any edema flows better. So that's one thing. And funny that the touch on the skin is what's distracting your brain from the pain. So that's the very first thing that I would try. And also just having a little bit of a barrier for when you do put it on the table, right? But because you're saying it happens in pushing things, I would definitely go more tricep in thought process, in that somehow maybe it got overworked. Did you do like the push-up competitions that are going around or something? Yes. And what makes you think that you have stuff there? Okay, in the same time period? Yeah. Right. Certainly that's something that totally plays a part, because your tricep goes up into your shoulder, and then if it's off on the one side, it's going to affect the way it works on the other side. So understanding, yeah, so I think your intuition is pretty good, and that function, the tape is good for initial pain stuff, but I would bet that if you are not stabilizing well, you were doing a whole bunch of climbing, dancing stuff, right? As Okay, so climbing and stuff is going to naturally put you in this position just to get around. Granted, you're not doing traditional stuff, but tightening forearms, tightening, in an imbalanced sort of way that you're not used to. So, and huge, if you weren't in the habit of really stabilizing before pulling, overreaching maybe, and it, may have done stuff there. Do you, does the shoulder also bother when you do push-ups and things like that? Okay. Okay. Just the elbow stuff. Yeah, I might even go, do you have like a lacrosse ball or something? Have you tried rolling into the shoulder area with it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, right. Did it help? Right. So, I mean, I would say that that might be part of it, but part of it might be just watch how you're strengthening it. How long have you not been in usual workouts, right? Home stuff. Mid-March? Mid Okay. So not terribly long. I would say if you've got any reverse plank in your repertoire, that one. Yeah, that one, or even just, I like it from a seated, just really practicing the scapular retraction. Yeah, that push down. Like I'd almost avoid doing any push-ups. And yeah, super. Are you icing or heating? Okay. Tried heat? Okay. we had a little of this conversation on my last week's session, but I kind of like heat, and especially for chronic stuff, because heat tends to open up the tissues better for that better circulation. Ice constricts and numbs. So if it's super painful, it'll numb it and make it feel a little bit better. But I'd try heat, heat through the whole thing. And tape. If you don't have any tape, you can get it online. I can send you the link. Rock Tape's on Amazon for $18 for a roll. That for sure I would try first, because that'll help. It seems like once you get the inflammation down and then be really aware of your movement moving forward. Right. And so it won't distract you from normal movements. But when you're used to being so active and then having pain like that, that's no fun. Right. Super annoying. So you get to check back in with me, and I found my little page of coloring book, but it's essentially the triceps. So this, let's see if we can all see that big red one and how it comes over there. Look at me working in reverse. That hurts my brain to work in a mirror. The only other thing I would mention, if by chance it is forearm stuff and maybe an imbalance, because everything's kind of crossing over in there. We grip so much, we never extend. So these cool vegetable rubber bands that you get around the asparagus, right? They're great for so many things, but because they're flat, they won't roll back on your hand. So this I say to anybody that's on their computer too much, holding their stuff too much, use the rubber band and practice opening, because that's the other side of the flexing. And sometimes it might be overworking because it's so tight on the other side. So that's another one that I would, and it's really funny that if you do this in different positions, like I'll have people hold it behind their back and then open their fingers, totally different. It's really funky. Hold it out to the side and do it. Functional finger training. So that would be the other homework that I would say. Things like that. Hi, Keith. I see you jump in, and I see Ginny. If you guys have any specific questions, please let me know. Jump in the chat. Keith, you can let everybody know where you're from, so I can have my one out-of-stater at the moment. Yes, he's awesome and knows. He's the guy that I go to find the latest and greatest equipment stuff. So that's super fabulous. Yeah, that's huge. I've done a fair amount as the remote stuff, which, it's limited. I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this, is that I get limited in kind of how they can set up a camera to show me what they're doing, especially if someone's by themselves, a selfie to show me how your setup is as you're working is hard.
What I do is I just have them do their layouts, and I have them do their layouts. A lot of the folks have already been doing office assessments in their normal office, so I have basically their anthropometry already.
That's a big word.
In that type of an assessment, so I know how tall they are, I know their reaches, I know these things, and so I have them give me some photos and some measurements, and then I look at both of those and say, okay, here's what maybe needs to be tweaked, put a cushion here, do this there, and it's amazing how ingenious some people are in getting their setups right at work or at home to sort of replicate what they do at work. They're doing a pretty good job.
That's good. Yeah, I hear that people are. I mean, I'm going to be the first to admit that I don't use any good setup. I mean, I guess when I do these, I prop it up. So, you know, it's a better angle when I'm doing something recorded. But if I'm in my bed on my laptop and I'm at the dining room table, I just have to move around because then the kids are on their stuff and it's just constantly moving. So that's where I'm going to plead guilty of not setting myself up right. But I am also not one that has to be there for a super long time.
Yeah, and the other thing I did is I took pictures. Well, my wife took pictures of me in my setups, and I did my home office. I did a kitchen setup, a couch setup, a raised counter setup, and then I just submitted videos to the city of Seattle, and hopefully they'll be sending those out to all their workers. And how to set up with fancy equipment, and how to set up with boxes or whatever you have in hand.
Super, super. Yeah, that's a big thing. I think I saw somebody also, one of an ergonomist in my feed of something, they set up a cardboard like stand to tilt their laptop in such a way that it was better on the wrists. So there's lots of information out there. So if any of you hear that you need something or whatever, I got great resources like Keith.
Yeah, just reach out. I'll be more than happy to help.
Super.
I don't care where you're from.
You won't hold it against me, but Keith used to be in Colorado, so he knows that well.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but Jenny, what's your life like lately? Are you just hanging out at home? Are you on your computer and stuff too much, or are you pretty good? Hold down your space bar while you're talking, or I'll unmute you. Let's see. I unmuted you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yeah, tell me what you're up to.
So, I thought the part about not me. I hate to tell you, I don't have any aches and pains.
Don't hate to
No.
tell me that. That's really good.
I know it's true. My doctor said if everybody was like me, she'd be out of business. So, no, it's not me. But you know, I have this dear sweet adorable working in the lower level now, and I think there are better ways to do posture at the computer, like you were talking about. And actually, I don't think he has that because his secretaries do that. But I'm just saying, looking at the computer rather than doing this. He's got the screen up there, but then I still see this, and I don't do that. I have to sit straight up. So it's about how do you get somebody to sit straight up?
Yeah. You know what? Well, if he's up for it, get a squirt gun and shoot him every time, you know, you see him like this. It works for cats. Why not for people, right?
No, I would get one.
He's going to love me for that. He's going to absolutely love me for that. But it's honestly, I'm saying it because it's more of a behavior retraining.
I agree.
We all just get into that, right? You're looking at the screen and you try to read it and it just goes forward. So that's the first thing, is to retrain the habit. Check that. I mean, I know my eyes are going bad, but if you're going between glasses or not glasses, that's the other thing that's going to make you make those adjustments. So how big the screen is, what you're looking at, what you're reading, all those things. But you,
Special, that comes up. He's
Yeah.
got all the special attachments.
well, super. And I know that I think people, I have my TV above me, that I know, I think so, if it's something that's a long period of time, you know, you can get your TV screens. I've seen people actually putting them on their dining room table now. So,
Exactly. Oh, I see. Great. I know I have Apple TV. I think that's great. To do something from the computer up there. I like that.
it just depends on whatever's going. So you'll have to report back to me on that squirt gun trick.
After freaking, I think a spray bottle would work.
Yeah. Oh, it totally worked. I mean, you know, squirt guns are a little more fun, and you guys don't have HR or anything to worry about. When I say that to people in companies, I'm always like, well, check with HR maybe first, but who knows, right? I know,
Yeah.
Keith, you're laughing at me. Okay.
We'll work on it.
Thank you. Keith, you've never recommended the squirt gun technique?
No, I will now. Some other things I've done is if people are working with their mouse and they tend to rotate their shoulder out too far, I'll get them a
Oh, and it froze. Oh, what?
mouse, which I hate. I'll have them turn that to the side, and then I'll glue it down on their desk with this double-sided tape, and it keeps them from being able to move their mouse not too far. So that's another thing I try to get people that I see that have shoulder elbow issues from mousing, and every time I come up to them, their mouse is 3 feet away from their keyboard.
Yeah.
I'll set up something like that to keep that mouse close.
Good.
That way their arm is in better position.
And you broke up for me just a little bit. You'll put what in that area with tape?
I take a mouse pad that has the raised bump on it, then I'll rotate that to the right or to the left, depending if they're a left or right-handed mouse user, and then I'll just double-side tape it to the desk, and that'll keep them from moving that mouse too far left or right, keep their shoulder aligned better.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's like the number one thing that I help people with is when they're on their setup, they're like here when they're typing or with their mouse. They're so far out or wide, and you're like, whoa, people, you know. And you do way more detailed stuff than I do, but my favorite thing is just check and make sure that your arm bone is vertical as possible. And then you got to worry about that heavy head. But I like that. And I love the clamshell or vertical mouse thing. I didn't know about clamshell mice until that you could do either or, that your mouse.
Yeah. Contour's got a really nice one called the Unimouse out. It's a phenomenal mouse.
Super. Will you type that into the chat box so I remember to look that up? And I can send out stuff on it. That would be super helpful. Let's see. Okay. Thank you. Contour. Contour's the brand?
Contour's the brand, yes.
Okay.
And it comes left and right-handed, wired and wireless.
Okay. Super. Does people use wired still?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, some of I have an area at Seattle City Light that's a secure building because it runs the systems operations center. They're not allowed to do anything wireless in there.
Anything? Not even your keyboard or your mouse?
Still.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't, back when I worked in Honeywell, I had a hard time getting wireless devices into that facility too. Everything had hardware.
The things that we take for granted that we can have everything wireless.
Yeah.
It's a big deal for sure. Well, you all are awesome for joining me today. I'm glad we got, I'm getting my technical things worked out as I do these every week. So I love that you guys are joining me on that. I know last week I had some people on it and some people on a different link, and I realized it was totally my fault. I set it up on a wrong link. I clicked my personal meeting link instead of the actual meeting link. Anywho, and now I do finally have YouTube Live, which hopefully will record, but I don't know how the audio is going to record. Anyway, so I appreciate you helping and teaching me all my technology as we go along. So spread the word, pass it around. As always, I love questions and figure it out. And I'm still going to do a huge promo for these Vibe rollers. Abby, do you know that there's rollers with vibration in them? Yeah, they're the bomb. I mean, they're just amazing. They are fave. So I just still want to tell it. That one, this one's my favorite when I get off all these computer stuff that I lay over. And the booty bands or the mini bands around your knees. So those are big just to keep moving and contradict everything that we were just doing. So Abby, I want you to check in with me to see how it is. If you need tape quicker than that, where do you live at? Which part of town?
I'm on Bowles, right by Southwest Plaza.
Oh, we're super close. I'd be happy to drop some by. So
That'd be helpful.
okay, I'll do that. And it gives me a reason to go out and do a drive-by social, right?
And let's throw it. Yes.
That would be good. You know, it would be
I'll
clean.
text you my address so
Yes.
you know where I am.
Please do that because we'll get out and about. Okay, so thank you all for joining me, and hope to see you next week. And Jenny, let me know how the squirt gun goes. Or I was just thinking that you also could do a rubber band gun, but depends on how good you are. That might be painful. Right. That might start something. So retaliate. I'm not responsible for any retaliation. Okay. All right, super. Well, you guys can take off. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go eat my lunch now. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Oh, there's 0 people watching on Facebook Live.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Huh.
It's because it's just going and going. So,
Cancel.
cancel. How do I, there, X out.
End.
And